Welcome to Tactical Talk. This is Zain Khan. Today's topic is Pakistan Navy's gigantic Aman 21 exercise. More than 45 countries have participated. Why are these exercises taking place now? To discuss this topic, we have with us Pakistan Navy's former senior officer, Captain Adeeb Safvi. He is currently a senior geopolitical analyst. Welcome to our show, Captain Safvi. This is Zain Khan. It is a pleasure having you on Tactical Talk.
Thank you, Zain. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Let's get to the first question. This is a very prominent exercise of the Pakistan Navy. What is the theme and the main objectives of the exercise Aman 21?
Right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This exercise, Aman 21, is a series of the exercise which started in 2007. Name was the same, Aman, and then it was an initiative that Pakistan Navy took in the context of our position in the Community of Nations. That is, Pakistan believes in mutual coexistence and is striving to get the environment in as peaceful and as cooperative as possible. And in that context, Pakistan has contributed very overwhelmingly in the United Nations peacekeeping efforts around the world. So keeping that thing in mind, this exercise was then planned that we will have not only the regional navies, but also extra-regional navies coming together with the sole purpose of the slogan of this exercise is together for peace. So with this thing, the aim is to work together in creating crime-free and maritime environment for the trade to flourish, for the navies to operate, and that is the main theme, that we work together to create a peaceful environment at maritime environment.
You just mentioned that this is not the first time of the Aman exercise. Can you tell us when was the first exercise and how many countries participated when the first exercise happened?
Okay. The first exercise was in 2007, and at that time there were only about 14 ships from 8 countries. That is China, Bangladesh, France, Italy, Malaysia, UK, and USA. So these were the few countries which contributed in the first exercise, and then every 2 years we are holding this exercise, and that is now reached the proportion of, mashallah, 45 countries participating with over 100 different types of ships, aircraft, helicopters, and other units participating in the exercise. This is something which we have been able to achieve. I think credit goes to the present naval chief and the staff that have organized this. But more importantly, it's a continued process of Navy being used as an instrument of foreign policy, which is a very common cliche accepted all over the world. And we have been able to create that kind of environment where we have 45 countries of various regions participating in this exercise.
Now, as you've mentioned that around approximately more than 45 countries are participating in the Pakistan Navy's Aman exercise, this does project a positive image of Pakistan as a whole, more particular the Pakistan Navy, the Pakistan military. And it also is an achievement on Pakistan's foreign policy to some extent. How do you shed light on that? What's your view about that?
You see, the reason that the countries have been willingly participating and over the years it has increased in number is very simple, that the objective is very clearly understood, and not only understood, but during the exercise we have practiced that. The word spreads after the exercise is finished So the countries have, with their various foreign embassies around, have sent the positive message across to their countries, and hence, when the invitation was sent by the Navy, we had an overwhelming response, and this is one of those things that we are having. Though the bilateral relations between the countries may not be as friendly as possible, but they have all been joined together under the platform of Pakistan Navy, and it's a wonderful sight to see them.
Now, let's get to the more technical side of the topic. What is the more operational side, the more operational concept of the exercises?
Okay, operational side, let's talk about the objective first. If you can understand the objective, then we will see the operational side of it. The objective is to promote regional cooperation for stability and greater interoperability, that we are able to operate with different countries together and coordinate our efforts towards stability and resolve against terrorism and crime at sea. So when you have this kind of a thing, which is very common to all countries, then the operations becomes very clear. So far as the operations are concerned, the first one is to develop a response. That means if something happens, how do we respond to this kind? And Pakistan Navy has been part of a task force which operates in the Persian Gulf anti-piracy. So when we operate together, we develop a response that in case something happens, how do we respond to that incident? The second part is then we develop a tactics. How do you go about in defusing or in handling that situation? The third part is the development of technique, that various methods are available at sea. How can you put your efforts together? Your technical capabilities slightly less, somebody else has a better technical know-how. So we put these things together and develop a technique of handling it. And then we come down to developing the procedures, that if this thing happens, what will be the procedure? How would the ships or aircraft or helicopters or other units that are required to act or react to the situation, how do they join in? How do they conduct the entire exercise? And last but not the least is the understanding of a non-traditional threat. That means this is not a threat that has developed from country to country. It is a non-state actor at sea. So how do we handle that? So this is the basic paradigm of operational activity during the exercise.
Now, when we talk about more than 45 countries participating in the Aman 21 exercises, we see United States Navy, the Chinese Navy, despite being adversaries in the South China Sea, coming together. We see the Russian Navy also participating, despite the fact that the United States, Washington, obviously the Kremlin, have their issues, diplomatic and geopolitical issues on all fronts. Doesn't that reflect Pakistan's positive relationship with these countries, that despite the fact that they have issues with each other, they're still willing to participate in this massive exercise? Doesn't it reflect the good relations between Pakistan and the United States, Pakistan and China, Pakistan and Russia, and the deepening bonds?
Yes, it's a very valid point that you have raised. The Russian Navy is participating for the first time, and I think this is in pursuance of the recent development of our relations, bilateral relations with the Russians, that Russians accepted the invitation, and it was really something that the Pakistan Navy should feel proud of. That despite their mutual differences, we have three countries which are operating under Pakistan Navy's platform. There is no doubt about China and US relationship so far as South China Sea is concerned. But here, as we see, the in the end, I would like, when I come to the last part, I'll describe that what is the main reason how we have been able to get these things, these countries together. That will be clearing that. But certainly, credit goes to the host country, the Navy, for being able to convince them. And we have China, we have Americans, and also the Russians doing the exercise with us.
Okay, here comes a very tricky question, Captain Safvi. What are the stakes for Pakistan in the maritime domain regionally?
Okay, very valid point. You see, Pakistan is heavily dependent on sea trade. Almost 85-90% of the trade goes through the Indian Ocean and towards Gulf and other countries. So Pakistan's stakes are very, very clear that we would like to have the maritime domain in which our merchant fleet operates and the other ships that come in crime-free or should not have any possibility of threat from the non-state actors at sea. So that is the main challenge for Pakistan Navy, and we have been working together for this very objective. Here I would like to add one more point. A very old and famous admiral of the United States in the 19th century, Alfred Thayer Mahan, he said, whoever controls, I'm quoting, whoever controls Indian Ocean will control the world. The destiny of the world will be decided on its water in 21st century. He wrote Influence of Sea Power on History is a book that he wrote, and so Indian Ocean is a very important strategically for whoever controls it. As you can see, we have a long coastline of India going south. On the western side, we have the African continent, and this whole mass of water is of great importance as very large number of trade takes place from Persian Gulf, Red Sea, down to around the Sri Lanka and goes up to the Straits of Hormuz, Malacca states. So this is a very important place. So internationally, it is very important, and so far as our own stakes are concerned, are very important so that we are able to operate freely in this maritime domain.
Captain Safvi, the slogan for the Aman 21 exercise is Together for Peace. Could you please shed some light and elaborate how this has been physically translated in its end result?
Okay. The main objective, as I said, bringing these countries together is to promote fraternization, understanding between various countries, and when they intermingle outside the domain of the exercise, because the exercise is divided into three phases. One is the harbor phase, the second one is the sea phase, and during sea phase there are certain land operations. But in these phases, particularly the harbor phase, when the ships arrive, there are various activities. Like on arrival, they have an opening ceremony. When you have that kind of thing, the people come ashore and they sit together. You'll see the video that has been released by the Pakistan Navy. You see, it's a very pleasant sight to see various countries, their flags flying, and they're talking to each other, sharing their views. So this is a very important element of the exercise. Then the second one is that, which at the moment I felt that in our days it was very common, but I think now the security environment outside in the city is not very conducive. So they may not, the citizens of Karachi may not see these people ashore, but when it used to happen during our time, then there used to be a very large number of people going ashore, and there was a lot of economic activity associated with it, a lot of buying of various things would used to take place, and it was a source of great foreign exchange earning. But at this moment time, I don't think there is much that they can get. Maybe they may have arranged few groups to go ashore and and do their shopping. The third part is when they towards the exercise there are other activities like sporting activities. That is, there are friendly matches of cricket, football, or other games. They play together. Again, that brings a very cordial relationship between the two navies that or other navies that are participating. And the third part is we have at the end of the exercise a grand gala where you have music, you have dinner. So all these things contributes towards promoting a very soft image of the country and creating that kind of environment which we term as peace, standing for peace together. So that is the basic theme of the exercise.
What are the various phases of the exercise, and what other organizations support the Navy in its implementation?
Okay, I just described the phases. I left out one phase. During this, when we have the second phase at sea, we carry out various weapon demonstrations, use of various tactics to detect the intruders and develop a procedure. How do we handle the situation? Then there is also a fly past of various aircraft or helicopters. And the third part is certain exercises are carried out on land. That is bomb disposal, escort, and other SSGP personnel. They operate together to against a perceived threat, and then that becomes the third phase. So harbor phase, sea phase, and then the land phase. What other units or organizations support the Navy? Yes, of course, once you are hosting so many ships, the entire DG Ports and Shipping, the entire KPT, the entire other associated departments with maritime activities, they all have to contribute, and they do their homework and provide the support that is required for conduct of such an exercise.
Captain Safvi, last few sentences before we wrap up the show.
Okay, yes, I think as I said during my talk in the middle that I like to add a few things at the end. Most appropriate is the speech made by the Chief of Naval Staff, in which he describes the paradigm shift and he describes the theme, the peaceful coexistence, and why we should all be there. He says, and I quote, "Why should be my success should be failure for someone else? Or why should my gain should be somebody else's loss?" There is a need to define a paradigm shift and create a win-win situation for all. So this is the main theme that has created this kind of magnanimous exercise, a huge exercise that people have responded, the countries have responded, and credit goes to the Chief of Naval Staff for really thinking like that and getting the exercise on a very, very large note. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Captain Adeeb Safvi, for being on Tactical Talk. It's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you very much.
This was Captain Adeeb Safvi, a senior officer of the Pakistan Navy and also a senior geopolitical analyst. We were discussing Pakistan Navy's gigantic Aman 21 exercises for peace. More than 45 countries have participated. Until the next episode of Tactical Talk, keep on watching Tactical Talk. This is Zain Khan. Take care. Goodbye.